Good evening, and thanks for joining tonight. I've heard wonderful story this evening that really emphasized that Duke has always been a place you can count on for nurturing innovative ideas, new thinking, and out-of-the-box approaches. For me, being at Duke has allowed me to explore and push the boundaries of what is possible. I'm a neurologist and a neuroscientist. And so the best part of my job is being able to discover something new about how the brain works. Right now, we're in the advanced stages of developing first-in-class drugs that target the mechanism for a disabling neurological disorder. But how did we get here? This is the journey I want to share to give you a little bit of a flavor of that process. And I think it really highlights what happens when you have a great environment and the possibility to explore. I find many parallels with the scientific discovery process and taking a hike in the woods. You have an idea of the destination and where you're heading, and you want to be well prepared. But as you set out, you can't actually see the destination and know exactly what lies ahead, whether good or bad. The journey I'm about to share had many twists, turns, and surprises along the way, and this one in particular led ultimately to a very breathtaking view. My particular passion is to go inside the brain and see what changes when we learn. The capacity of the brain as a learning machine is awe-inspiring, from Duke basketball and beyond. But understanding how this works is also really important to find new treatments for many brain diseases. When I was a resident training in neurology, I developed an intense interest in synapses. And synapses are the connections between cells where information is passed and allows them to communicate. Synapse malfunction is also implicated in many of the diseases that we desperately need treatments for, like Alzheimer's, autism, pain, mental illness, and addiction. Along the way, I became curious about one particular disease called dystonia because of the connection between learning itself and the movement problem. This is a problem where someone can go to do something that they're highly trained in and will have trouble controlling their movements, but yet can use their hand in many other ways. This can happen to professional violinists as well as others, such as golfers and runners. And this disease really highlights that connection between a corruption of the learning process and your movement control. But there are also many other forms of dystonia, and it often can occur in treatment in diseases common like Parkinson's disease. And so through serendipity and a great environment, I met a single patient at Duke that changed how I thought about the disease and also led us to realize an opportunity to find better treatments. But this opportunity, we realized, involved taking possibly a shortcut. It involved a high-risk idea, and this detour could lead to a dead end or worse. So here we were at the junction from the well-trodden path to a high-risk detour. Now, the bread and butter of research funding from places like NIH requires for most of us, most of the time, to hew to the well-trodden path. But in this particular example, I took the detour, and that was because I had a chance at Duke to do this. Duke had been involved in recognizing and recruiting talent and resources to bring a powerful emerging technology to campus. It was about 15 years ago, and what it was it allowed us to simultaneously, in a high-throughput way, examine all 23,000 of the human genes at a time to see if they were involved in the biological process of your interest. Now, historically, the way we did this, we were kind of like cavemen, chipping away one gene at a time, asking if a particular gene was involved in this process. And this took many months and years. So Duke gave me access to experts in this new technology, as well as seed research funding to give it a try. And this risky detour didn't fail. In fact, instead, we were rewarded with a view that was far beyond the destination we imagined we were heading out for. So the results of that initial journey led not only, as I just mentioned, to being able to now be developing drugs for this disease that are in advanced stages preparing for clinical trials, but it also rewarded us by getting insights to the root cause of the problem. My lab discovered a unifying mechanism for multiple forms of dystonia that were seemingly different clinically, shared under an umbrella mechanism. And along the way, trying to understand why did this mechanism cause this movement problem, dystonia, we also were led to uncover brand new concepts about how the healthy brain works. And the impact of that finding was so broad-reaching that it ended up being published in Science because of that impact of recognizing new ways that the brain normally learns, as well as providing some insights into drugs that are making their way into clinical trials for people with other diseases like dementia and traumatic brain injury. So I hope you enjoyed this small journey. This is one of a great many adventures I've had at Duke. I think there's really 3 key ingredients for every journey. The idea, you have to pick a great destination. The environment, traveling with good company, having a prepared team. And the opportunity. And this is where your philanthropy plays a crucial role in providing this opportunity. For people like me, having the ability to explore new ideas, take risks, and make new discoveries. We all need more opportunities to get lost, but also to find unanticipated beauty. And for that, I'm incredibly grateful for your generosity, for all the work you do supporting us at Duke. I hope you continue. I hope we can even provide more opportunities for people earlier in their career. Early in my career, I had not as many chances to take that path less traveled as I do now with an endowment. It allows our research team to take risks, and everything doesn't have to be perfectly laid out logically to get funding from the NIH, for example. So I want to thank you again for your caring, your generosity, and support for explorers and discoverers like me.